Hey, I'm Sadie. And I love going fast and feeling the rush of excitement when I'm behind the wheel of a go-kart. But it isn't always easy, and sometimes things can get out of control. You know, there have been times when I had no idea what I was doing. I've crashed, finished in last place, and even accidentally went backwards at the start of a race.
Ready, set, go!
Now, that was embarrassing, but it's not just on the racetrack where things feel out of control. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm doing in real life, too. Like when a friend gets mad at me or someone wants me to do something I know I shouldn't. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever found yourself thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing? Well, you aren't alone. We all find ourselves in a place where we need answers. And my favorite place to find those answers is in the Bible. The Bible is God's true message to us about himself. Did you know that there were people in the Bible who didn't know what to do? One man who really needed some answers was named Gideon. Gideon wasn't a brave man, but God showed his power by working through Gideon and a few hundred people in an amazing way. Let's open the Bible to the book of Judges, which is in the Old Testament, the first part of the Bible, and find out what happened. Gideon. For 7 years, the Midianites ruled over God's people, the Israelites. They attacked the Israelites and destroyed their crops. So God's people went and hid in the mountains. One day, an Israelite man named Gideon was working in his hiding place when the angel of the Lord visited him. Then the angel said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior. You will save your people from the Midianites." Gideon answered, "How can I save Israel? My family is the weakest. I am the youngest in my family." "I will be with you," God promised. Gideon wanted to know that the Israelites would win the battle. So he asked God to make a piece of wool wet one night and the floor dry around it. Then to keep the wool dry and the floor wet around it another night. God did what Gideon asked. When Gideon realized it was God speaking, he quickly obeyed and gathered an army. Gideon gathered 32,000 men, but God said, "You have too many soldiers. When your enemy is defeated, the people will think, 'We have saved ourselves.' Tell those who are afraid to go home." Many of the soldiers left, and only 10,000 stayed to fight. Hold on. Now, you might be thinking, maybe the Midianite army wasn't that big. 10,000 soldiers is plenty. Nope, because it wasn't just the Midianites that came to fight the Israelites. It was also the Amalekites and all the people of the east. There were a lot of enemy soldiers. So why would God send some of the soldiers home? Well, God wanted the people to know that it wasn't by their strength that they defeated their enemies. It was by the power of God. So let's see what God asked Gideon to do next. God said, "There are still too many men. Take them down to the water and watch how they drink. Place in one group those who scoop up water with their hands. Place those who kneel to drink from the water in another group." Gideon obeyed God. Only 300 men drank with their hands to their mouths. God told Gideon, "I will help you defeat the Midianites with these 300 men. Send the rest home." God helped Gideon know what to do. He told Gideon to give every man a trumpet and an empty pitcher with a torch inside. Gideon directed the men to surround the enemy camp. When Gideon blew his trumpet, the men broke the pitchers, blew their trumpets, and shouted, "For the Lord and for Gideon!" The Midianites were terrified. God confused them, and they began to fight one another and run away. The battle was won! Did you catch that? God showed his power to his people by defeating the enemy army with just 300 men. The people of Israel were in trouble, and when they asked God for help, he helped them in an amazing way. Gideon had no idea what would happen, but he trusted in God's plan. Because of God's power, Gideon and the soldiers defeated a whole army with just torches and horns. There are going to be times in your life where you don't know what to do and you need help. Ask God. He has a plan for you and has designed you for a purpose. Now, when God asks you to do something, you might think, "But I'm only a kid. I'm not smart enough." Or, I have no idea what I'm doing. Just like Gideon, you need God's help to follow the plan he has for you. God is with you and will give you the strength to follow him. Remember, God has a plan and you are designed for a purpose. So let's go.